you see this is me and it's okay to go for it? Go for it. Let them both make a noise cause we're all having fun with it. Fun with it. Can't you see this is me and it's okay to go for it? Makes me wanna say
Good evening. Can I try that once more? Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to welcome all guests to the Old Town Hall, Stratford, for the annual meeting of the Council. Firstly, I would like to thank the choir from St. Helens Primary School for entertaining us this evening. Please give them a round of applause. I know you're sorry. Thank you for attending this special event. Tonight, we elect a new chair and deputy chair of the council and appoint councillors to serve the various council committees for the forthcoming year. I would like to welcome the members of the public and press who are physically attending or watching on YouTube. With regards to the meeting etiquette, at previous council meetings, unfortunately, we've had interruptions from the public gallery in attendance. I would like to take this opportunity to remind the public that to enable the council to conduct its business, if there are any interruptions at today's meetings, the chair will ask the individual or individuals to stop and give a warning. If this continues, the chair will give a second and final warning. Should the disruption continue, the chair will ask security to remove the person or group from the council chamber and will adjourn the meeting. Members of council, please can I ask that you indicate when you wish to speak by raising your physical hand. If you are invited to speak, please use the microphones or the lectern in the middle of the floor if one has been provided, or walk to the nearest microphones, stand on your left or right side, and to stand close to it when talking. Please do not move the microphones when speaking, and do not approach the dais. Please, can I ask members and councillors to introduce themselves when speaking? I would like to ask that everyone turns their mobile phones to silent mode. We are not expecting any fire drill this evening, so if the alarm sounds, please remain calm and follow the instructions of the town hall staff. I now will give my speech, my outgoing speech. So. I have decided not to stand for re-election this year, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Mayor, members and officers for their support over the last 2 years. I would also like to thank the monitoring officer and, I'm going to get this right, his staff in Democratic Services for the support they have given me in preparing for and presentation at council meetings, which, as members know, can be quite a lively affair. I want to thank my wife and other family members for their support, who have endured my absence while I was on council duties. I would like to say that it has been a privilege to serve as the chair of council, and would especially like to thank my deputy chair, Councillor Salim Patel, for his support at meetings and stepping in as chair when the need arises. I also want to say that it has been an honor to serve as the first citizen representing Neum at various events during my tenure. The events attended by have been many, but included fundraising events, Remembrance Day services, the Lord Mayor Show, and dressing up as Santa Claus at Schools 360. Each year, the borough mayors, speakers, and chairs of council are invited to walk the Whittington Walk with the Lord Mayor of London from Whittington Hospital to Mansion House. It is 5 miles, and I can assure you that I walked every step. I have cut a number of ribbons over the last 2 years, and was honored to be invited to Stratford's first ever Chakanua Menorah Lighting Up event in December of last year. My last formal event as citizen was on Friday to witness Miss Lorna Jackson, MBE, head teacher of Maryland School, to sign the Freedom Roll, having received the freedom of the borough. At the end of the assembly, the head teacher, myself, some of the children had a little dance to Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy. My chosen charity during the period of office was the Hibiscus Housing Project. As you will all be aware, during my term of office, H.M. Queen Elizabeth II sadly passed away on the 8th of September 2022, and official books of condolences were placed around the borough for dignitaries, representatives from various organizations, and the public to sign. It was then my honor to preside over the proclamation of King Charles III on Sunday, 11 September 2022, as well as a service of reflection for the late Queen on Sunday, the 18th of September 2022. Recently, of course, Neum alongside the whole country celebrated the coronation of King Charles III. Once again, I would like to thank everyone for supporting me during my term of office as Chair of Council and First Citizen. I would like to wish the incoming Chair of Council and First Citizen the very best of luck in their new role, and hope that they enjoy every moment. Thank you. I now ask that the designated Interim Chief Executive, Colin Ansell, start the formal business of the meeting by seeking nominations for the election of Chair of Council for the 2023-2024 municipal year.
Thank you, Chair Councillor Vaughan. I'd just like to start by putting on place my record and thanks and personal gratitude to Councillor Vaughan for all of your sterling work whilst undertaking the role of the Chair of Council. Since working with you, I've noticed the way that you approach your role in such a professional manner, chairing excellently and fairly, and you will be missed. So thank you, Councillor Vaughan, on behalf of me, all the officers and everybody here this evening. Thank you. So I now move to agenda item 1, election of chair. I invite nominations for the office of Chair of Council for the 2023-2024 municipal year. Do I have a mover? Councillor Laguda.
Good evening, everyone. I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity to nominate Councillor Rahima Rahman as the Chair of Council and First Citizen of Newham for the term 2023-2024. I have known Councillor Rahima Rahman since her election in 2006 for Green Street East West. She has a deep connection to the community and has worked tirelessly to support the local residents, especially in the aftermath of 9/11. It is noteworthy that Councillor Rahman will become the first chair of Newham Council of Bangladeshi origin, following in my footsteps as the first black chair of council in 2003. I'm delighted that Newham is setting an example of inclusivity and diversity. In the 1990s, Councillor Rahman played a crucial role in establishing a community development network in the deprived Green Street neighborhood. Her efforts have been instrumental in community regeneration and promotion. Councillor Rahman has been a champion for women and children, empowering them to contribute to the local community. She has encouraged resilience and harmony among disadvantaged women, promoting understanding of Newham's multicultural communities. Having grown up in Newham, Councillor Rahman, alongside the parents and siblings who also call this para home, has a strong connection to the area. She attended school in Newham and later pursued her studies at Birkbeck University, where she earned a PGC. With extensive experience, I'm confident that Councillor Rahima Rahman will excel as the chair of council. Beneath her quiet demeanor lies an intelligent and confident individual who will lead the council diligently. Having known her for many years as a council, I can attest to her effectiveness and fairness. Councillor Rahman is a resilient woman who will assume this role with grace and dignity. She takes her responsibility seriously, and I'm certain that she will make a significant positive impact as the chair and first citizen of our borough. Furthermore, Councillor Rahman has been a foster parent to 34 children from diverse backgrounds over the past 12 years. Some of her foster children are present here tonight. We wish Councillor Rahman the best as she undertakes the responsibility of being the first citizen of Newham, succeeding Councillor Winston Vaughan, who has been exceptional chair over the past few years. I also extend my best wishes to Councillor Vaughan in his future endeavors. May she be blessed in her new role. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Laguda. Is that seconded? Councillor Assa? Yep.
Thank you, Chair. It's a great pleasure to rise to support the nomination proposed by Councillor Laguda. I am very honoured to be able to nominate my ward colleague for the position for the year ahead. Rahima is a fresh face to Beckton, elected a year ago, but she's thrown herself into community and campaigning and supporting the residents there with great skill and energy. And that's a skill and energy I know she will bring to the role as first citizen and chair of the council. But she may be a fresh face to Beckton, but she's not a fresh face to this council. As Councillor Gouda has pointed out, she served 12 years previously and therefore brings a great amount of experience and skill and experience that is needed to chair a council body, which I know she will do very well. She is fair and she is firm. Trust me, as her ward colleague, I know she can be firm, but always fair with it. You've also heard from Councillor Gouda how she has campaigned in the community on a range of issues, and I think that is something that the borough is going to benefit from greatly, and I have great faith in her abilities to deliver that. Now, it's worth saying, Councillor Vaughan, that nobody will ever be able to wear that hat quite with the style and panache that you carry it off. You are a hat person, and a bicorn hat is not the easiest things to wear, but Councillor Rahman will wear the robes with great dignity and with great style as she represents our wider borough and all the work that you know goes with that, with the faith communities, charities, voluntary sectors, schools, and our wider commitment, and taking that voice and face of the borough out to other boroughs around London in various events. So I know she's going to deliver the meetings in this council very well. I know she's going to be a great representative for our borough and our citizens, and so it is therefore a great honour and great pleasure to nominate my ward colleague, my friend, Councillor Rahima Rahman, to serve as chair of the council and first citizen of the London Borough of Newham for the municipal year 2023-24.
Thank you very much, Councillor Assar. Are there any further nominations? No? So I will now ask the council to vote that Councillor Rahima Rahman is elected Chair of Council of the London Borough of Newham for the 2023-2024 municipal year. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against? Any abstentions? That's unanimous. Thank you. I therefore declare that Councillor Rahima Rahman is hereby elected Chair of Council of the London Borough of Newham for the 2023-2024 municipal year. Can I please ask Councillor Rahima Rahman to come to the lectern to read and sign the acceptance of office? Could I also ask Councillor Winston Vaughan to join me and remove and transfer the council chain, and also to accept a small gift as a token of our appreciation? Thank you.
James.
Thank you. I, Councillor Rahima Rahman, having been elected to the office of Chair of Council, hereby declare that I take this said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfill the duties and according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Yeah, thank you all very much. This is the black box, okay?
You go down to the chair over there. Thank you. Chair? Chair?
Yeah.
Do you want to take your seat? Do you want to do your speech? Go do your speech. Yeah, where's your speech? Your speech is there. Do your
Yeah. As the newly appointed Chair of Newham Council, and first citizen, I'm deeply honored and humbled to serve this great community. I needed my glasses. A warm welcome to all our distinguished guests here tonight. I would like to express my deepest appreciation to our outgoing chair, Councillor Winston Vaughan, who has been a tremendous mentor to me. I sincerely grateful to the hardworking council staff and the pioneering first female executive mayor in the country for their hardworking and unwavering support and dedication to our residents. Thank you to the council members for placing their trust in me to lead on full council meetings and I'm committed to serving our residents and improving Newham as a place to live, work, and achieve a fairer Newham. As a first citizen, I'm excited to represent our community and promote the values that make Newham so special. Our diversity is our strength, and I am dedicated to celebrating and embracing our many cultures and traditions. I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to my family, friends, and colleagues for their support and encouragement throughout my career. Their love and guidance have been instrumental in shaping my journey. Having been entrusted with this important role, I will work with the residents of Newham to promote a brighter future for our community. Transparency and accountability are fundamental principles that guide me as the chair and first citizen. I pledged and uphold the highest standards of integrity and impartiality, fostering collaboration among both the majority and minority groups, including single independent member. In conclusion, I am honored to serve Newham as the chair of the council and first citizen. I look forward to working with you, all of you, and greatly appreciate your support. Thank you very much. I'm now moving to item 2. Item agenda 2, election of deputy chair. I should now like to invite nomination for the office of deputy chair of council for the 2023 and 2024 municipal year. Councillor Mariam Daud.
Thanks, Chair, and congratulations on behalf of all of us. I would like to nominate Councillor Salim Patel as Deputy Chair of Council. Councillor Patel has been an integral part of Manor Park and Newham, working towards the betterment of our borough. We have all seen how tirelessly he works to address the challenges faced by local residents, and how he does so with genuine empathy and compassion. As his ward colleague, I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn from his expertise, which have shaped me into the councillor that I am today. Over his years of service, Councillor Patel has had a profound impact on us, and as his colleagues, and on the lives of residents. And as Deputy Chair for the last year, he has been a shining example of integrity and honesty in public office. I kindly ask that all members of this council support Councillor Patel's nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mariam Daud. Is that seconded? Councillor Jennifer Bailey.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to second the nomination of Councillor Salim Patel for Deputy Chair of Council. He is a fantastic ward colleague and would continue to make an excellent Deputy Chair of Council. Thank you.
Are there any further nominations? I will now ask the Council to vote that Councillor Salim Patel is re-elected Deputy Chair of Council of the London Borough of Newham for the 2023-2024 municipal year. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? I declare that Councillor Salim Patel is hereby re-elected Deputy Chair of the Council for the London Borough of Newham for 2023-2024 municipal year. Can I ask Councillor Patel to come up to the lectern to read and sign the acceptance of office?
Thank you. I, Councillor Salim Patel, having been elected to the office of Deputy Chair of the Council, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfill the duties accordingly to the best of my judgment and ability. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you very much.
I'm now moving to item agenda 3, apologies for absence. I have received apologies for absence for this evening's meeting for Councillor Julfikar Ali, Luke Chatters, Joshua Garfield, Mumtaz Khan, Terry Paul, Carlin Lipoki, Tony Olson. Are there any other apologies for absence from councillors to be recorded? Thank you. Councillor Coburn, thank you. No, I have only mentioned Carlin, so will be recorded for Daniel Lipoki. Thank you. I'm now moving to item agenda 4, declaration of interest. Are there any members wishing to declare any disclosable pecuniary interest for any other interest they may have in any matter which is to be considered at this meeting? I'm now moving to item 5, minutes of the last meeting held on 20th March 2023. Pages number 11 to 32 on your agenda. I move as a correct record the minutes of the last ordinary meeting of the Council held on 20th March 2023. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Madeline. Do I have a seconder, please? Can I remind people to put your phones on silent mode, please? Thank you. Do I have a seconder? All right, I've got a few seconders now here. Is that recorded? All these in favor, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. Agreed the minutes? Thank you. I am now moving to item agenda 6, announcement by the chair. Niham Heritage Month. I am pleased to announce that Niham is again celebrating Niham Heritage Month program with an exciting program for 50 fantastic free events and activities taking place in venues across the borough in June. This year, the theme is celebrating the theme Our Creative Niham, Niham's Arts and Culture Heritage. West Ham United. Congratulations to our local football club, West Ham United, in reaching the final of the Europa Conference. We wish you good luck for the match on 7th of March. 7th of June. We wish them all the good luck for the march on the 7th of June. Thank you. I'm now moving on item agenda 7, appointment of interim chief executive ongoing. Interim arrangement, page 3 to 6 on your supplementary agenda. I ask the mayor to move this report. Mayor Fiaz, you have 5 minutes.
Is it on? Great, okay. Thank you very much, Chair.
Sorry, can I ask you to not to interrupt the meetings? I'm giving the first warning. Can I ask you to not to interrupt the meeting, please? This is a public meeting. You have every right to be here, but you don't have the right to interrupt the meeting. I'm giving the first warning. Well, I will be asking the security. Can you be clear? I'm adjourning the meeting for 15 minutes. I'm adjourning the meeting for 15 minutes.
And we just need somebody there, isn't it? Yeah. Let me go and get Colin, yeah.
Amar.
So we're going to start because we're dealing with the item on Colin.
You want me to use this? Is it loud enough? I think that should be okay, yeah? Apologies for the interruption. I would like to now move the item 7, appointment of the interim chief executive, ongoing interim arrangements, page 3 to 6 on your supplementary agenda item. I now ask the mayor to move this report. Mayor Fiaz, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chair. Colleagues, as you'll all recall, this time last year we formally approved the appointment of Colin Ansell as the interim chief executive because we were commencing with a recruitment campaign in a context of some 47,000, I was about to say, 47 chief executive vacancies in England and Wales in local government, and against the backdrop of a focus on part of the local government association in improving its talent pipeline for senior officers and chief executives here in England and Wales. It's without surprise to let you know, well, I hope it's not a surprise, we have been continuing with the recruitment campaign and we are intending to conclude the appointment of our permanent chief executive this coming summer. Given the fact that our interim chief executive will have reached a 12-month point in the interim step-up role in line with the council's pay and grading policy for employees, we are required that any extended period of stepping up will come on the approval of colleagues here at full council. So in sum, I am inviting you to take a note of the paper as set out agenda item 7, and for in line with the recommendations, I'm inviting colleagues to agree to confirm the appointment of Colin Ansell as the ongoing interim chief executive for the London Borough of Newham for a period of 6 months, and I formally move.
Thank you, Councillor James Arthur. Council is asked to confirm the appointment of Colin Ansell as the ongoing interim chief executive for the period of 6 months. Councillors that agreed? All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Can you ask Colin Ansell to return, please? I am pleased to announce that Colin Ansell be appointed as interim chief executive. Colin Ansell. Yeah. I'm now moving to item agenda 8, Mayor's speech. I invite Mayor Exon Affairs to address the council to make any announcement. You have up to 20 minutes.
Very much, Chair. Colleagues, I was going to start by inviting officer colleagues at the back to start a video that will be lasting for 4 minutes, but I'm not going to be inviting officers to show that yet because I wanted to comment on the protest here at Annual Council meeting again this year, and we have our fair share of protest at full council meetings as well as annual council meetings, but it's really important for me to say 2 things. One, reaffirm my commitment to the democratic right for people to protest, and secondly, to reaffirm my commitment to move families with children out from Victoria Street. And we have been progressing well, albeit we have been challenged by the ongoing crisis in housing facing so many Londoners, but particularly acute here in the London Borough of Newham. We have seen a 47% reduction in housing supply, reflecting a catastrophe that is mirrored across every single London borough in the capital. And my update with regards to Victoria Street, you will recall for those members that are here, but also for guests who may have been here this time last year, but in case you weren't, I made a commitment that as part of resolving the vexed issue of Victoria Street, where we have had no choice but to place families with children in homes, flats that are not at all suitable in terms of size. And I promised that I would move all families with children from Victoria Street. And as of last week, there were 56 families left, with 10 currently considering offers, and a total of 106 families have already been supported and moved. We are absolutely busting a gut to support those families with children to move out of Victoria Street, because we know that it's not appropriate for them and those children. So when you hear deeds, not words, let me tell you this. Day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, every single one of my cabinet members and members of the wider executive alongside me are working really hard to transform Newham. And that includes Victoria Street. We've already approved a 1.2 million for an options appraisal process that will assess the options available to us to make a decision around the future of Victoria Street. and we've allocated some £43 million, depending on what option will be chosen by the Cabinet and myself, to completely reconceptualise what Victoria Street will be for families in the future as part of our contribution to dealing with the acute housing crisis. So deeds are happening. It's not just words. It's not just empty words, because people, members of the Cabinet, officers are working day in, day out to support those families that are left, because we don't want them there any day longer, let alone week or month or years, because that's what used to happen before. So I'm giving you this pledge, members. Over the coming months, I'll provide you a regular update with regards to those 56 remaining families, of which, as I said, 10 are currently considering offers. But I promise, as part of my commitment and as a demonstration of deeds, not words, to update you in the coming months. Having said that, I wanted to firstly welcome all of you, Chair, councillors and distinguished guests, as well as hard-working and committed officers, to this evening, which marks an important civic occasion for Newham, an occasion that signals the start of a new administrative year here for us. And firstly, my personal congratulations to Councillor Rahima Rahman in being sworn in as our new Chair of Council, and our re-elected Deputy Chair, Councillor Salim Patel. It is always a great honour to serve our residents across the borough, and I am sure that you will both find your new roles rewarding, or your returning roles, and I wish you all the best for the year ahead. Friends, as mentioned, this evening marks the beginning of the second year of my administration's second term. To continue delivering on the building a fairer Newham promises that I made in Labour's manifesto last year, creating fairness, challenging systemic inequality, and transforming Newham where everyone can enjoy a good quality of life, where they are happy and able to live well. This underpins everything myself and my Cabinet and my executive colleagues do. In the face of inequality and the cost of living crisis facing too many of our residents, I continue to be determined to be unrelenting in our focus on all our people living here. We'll be seeing a short video in a short while, which demonstrates that through the millions and millions of pounds that we are investing in our neighbourhoods, roads, streets, and working hard to keep them clean, where we are building homes that our people can afford, where we are investing in our children, young people, and the elderly, where we are paying our care staff the London living wage, where we are focusing on food security because it is a human right through our Eat for Free programme for primary school pupils and the Newham Food Alliance. There is so much that we are doing. And as we look ahead to the coming 12 months, let me tell you about the mission that lies ahead. In the context of the most challenging and acute cost of living crisis our residents have faced, possibly since the Second World War, and the unprecedented reductions in council budgets, tonight my message is simple. Serving our people and serving them well, building better neighbourhoods and places that they live, and investing in all Newham's residents on the things that matter to them most. This is the mission that lies in the 12 months ahead. We'll soon be launching the new Well Newham service, which will help residents to improve their overall health and well-being, enabling them to access activities and support that will reduce social isolation, loneliness, increase independence, as well as happiness. We'll be investing £1.2 million to transform East Ham Town Hall as London's first data campus, which will pave the way for some 5,000 high-skill and high-income jobs of the future. We've already increased our fly tipping response, reducing its scourge in key hotspots like East Ham High Street North by 53%. You told us that clean streets are a priority, and alongside the entirety of the Cabinet and the Executive, we've been working hard to deliver on this. Over the coming years, we will invest £40 million to keep our streets clean, including an increase in fly tipping enforcement. Improvements in our recycling service has led to the highest level of recycling in Newham since before the pandemic. We are investing in our parks to create open spaces that benefit all residents while improving Newham's biodiversity as part of our agenda of tackling the climate emergency. We are investing £69 million in our active and sustainable transport programme to rapidly increase the amount and quality of sustainable transport infrastructure in Newham, from delivering 1,000 extra electric vehicle charging points across the borough through the announcement of major cycling infrastructure schemes on key routes across Newham. We will be delivering on our manifesto promises around green infrastructure, including the allocation of £9 million of investment in our Romford Road cycling scheme. We're also investing in low-traffic neighbourhoods, creating people-friendly streets that make it easier for residents to walk and cycle, and will continue our campaign against environmental threats such as the Silvertown Tunnel and the London City Airport expansion. We are investing over £1 million in our community safety service, strengthening our capacity to address antisocial behaviour, environmental crimes and hate crimes, by launching the Newham Stay Safe app and conducting community safety days of action. We have empowered our residents to report incidents and receive prompt assistance. But we don't underestimate the significance of the Casey review, and we will continue to hold our police force to account on your behalf. As you all know, good quality affordable housing is key to providing better places to live, and we are turning our residents' housing dreams into reality. You'll often hear me speak about how we've already embarked on a £2 billion investment programme in new social house building, delivering genuinely affordable, high-quality homes for our people. And since May 2018, 1,012 London affordable social rent homes were started or built in Newham. Of these, 111 homes were ready for families to move into between the period April 2021 to March 2022. And since the end of March, a further 89 homes have been ready by the end of March of this year. In the past 12 months alone, a total of 373 homes are being delivered as we accelerate the delivery of another 1,500 homes, which I promised when I was re-elected in May 2022. It includes 263 high-quality London affordable rent social homes and 110 homes through the Council's Right to Buy buybacks programme. In 2021-2022, we were the highest borough in London for new housing completions, and I give you this promise that we will continue to be resolutely focused in delivering new homes that our people can afford. And now we are focused on delivering against our even more ambitious targets of the additional 1,500 genuinely affordable social homes for our residents here in Newham. Through our private sector landlord licensing scheme, which has been extended for another unprecedented 5 more years, we are protecting renters' rights. We've inspected 18,723 additional private rented properties, resulting in 2,625 referrals for enforcement action in relation to poorly managed properties. We've also introduced tenancy liaison officers who have already prevented over 100 unfair evictions from the private rented sector, and we will continue to stop landlords from unfairly evicting tenants. We have continued with our expansion of specialist dedicated housing hubs in Stratford and now in Canning Town, making it easier for residents to access housing support. We are being proactive on homelessness to deliver increased residential supply, improved standards and support for residents in temporary accommodation. As you know, we have said that we want Newham to be the best place for our children and young people, and that's why we've secured £4.4 million of investment in family hubs, with our first family hubs in East Ham and Plaistow, and further family hubs coming later this year. And in the year after that, we'll have more, including the £8 million brand new carbon neutral Shipman Youth Zone, where there will be a co-located family hub. We're investing £9 million in local specialist provision to support our children and young people with special educational needs, providing them with the support and opportunities they deserve. I made a commitment to our residents that they will be at the forefront of co-creating the future of our borough, and that commitment is unwavering. That's why People-Powered Newham lies at the heart of our plans. Our People-Powered Places programme provides £1.6 million of grants for community-led projects that are democratically decided by residents. And this builds on the previous £1.26 million of grants in the previous 2 years, which has funded 157 projects, all voted for by Newham residents, ensuring that the voices of our residents are heard and their initiatives are supported. It's become the largest participatory budgeting initiative in the UK, and our pioneering work around people-powered democracy has been recognised through a nomination by the MJ Awards for Community Engagement and the Local Government Chronicle Awards for Community Involvement. And lastly, we are taking actions in the face of the climate emergency through investments in renewable energy, green infrastructure and sustainable transport. We are doing a vast amount. We've launched the Housing Services Retrofit Programme. We've promoted energy efficiency in homes and are expanding our electrical vehicle charging infrastructure. These achievements are not the work of a few individuals. They are the collective effort of councillors and council officers, driven by a shared purpose to build a fairer Newham for all our residents. Each milestone reached, each life improved, each barrier broken is a testament to that purpose as we serve our people and serve them well. Thank you, and if we could show the video.
Thank you, Mayor Fias. Now I'm moving to agenda item 9, and announced by the interim chief executive. Can I ask Colin Ansell if he has any announcement, please?
I have no announcements this evening, Chair.
I am now moving to agenda item 10A, appointments by the mayor. Please note, as supplementary papers has been published online and distributed to members of council, which details the appointments made, including the list of appointments of outside bodies, which is outlined on pages 7 to 18 on the supplementary agenda. I will now call upon Mayor Fias to confirm the appointments made by the mayor.
Chair, can I just formally move the paper?
Is that agreed? I'm now moving to agenda item 11, the speech by the leader of the opposition group.
Good evening, Council, and thank you, Chair. It's wonderful to welcome you to your new position. I want to thank the Council officers for their exceptional dedication and special recognition to our Interim Chief Executive, Colin Ansell, for his invaluable support. I also want to acknowledge and stand in solidarity with our Ukrainian community, the largest in the country. We condemn the ongoing illegal invasion, and we are proud of Newham residents for their support and hospitality towards Ukrainian families. Although our campaign to host Eurovision in Newham, an event celebrating European unity, was unsuccessful, it truly was Ukraine's party in our house. Newham faces a long-standing cost of living crisis, due in part because of the Tory Lib Dem choice of austerity. Public services have been decimated. The housing crisis is at boiling point, with the fastest rent increases nationwide. Temporary housing conditions, shown by the Ali family, all 7 of them forced to live in a house full of mould, is disgraceful. Our air quality is lethal, and the COVID pandemic have only made things worse. I'm proud to stand with every striking worker fighting for fair pay and conditions, including desperate healthcare workers and our bin workers. Enough is enough, and the Green Party, the only party to endorse the campaign's demands. Greens have consistently opposed austerity, and we know addressing the cost of living crisis is entwined with tackling the climate and ecological. Meanwhile, Labour's Sadiq Khan refuses to stop the Silvertown Tunnel. Newham Labour must now back alternatives for the tunnel, starting with supporting our motion. As Greens, we represent almost 20% of voters in Newham. We have been bold and ambitious for what we can achieve, and we have delivered. We have shown that where Greens lead, others follow. Our recent success included overturning the misguided public space protection order that endangered sex workers, thanks to the collaboration of Greens, residents, campaign groups, and academics. It was right that the first motion we proposed was in support of proportional representation, and votes at 16. Our second successful motion affirms commitment to trans rights. Newham has the highest proportion of trans residents in the UK, and we take pride in safeguarding their rights. The Tories and the media have to stop their relentless attacks on our communities. As a non-binary councillor, I know we must also change and improve our council's culture, and I'm proud to have worked with the Interim Chief Executive to establish the Gender Diversity Programme training. We must also support teachers fighting to educate young people about the wonderful diversity of our society. We take our role as the opposition seriously. We supported groups like Newham City Farm and attended Beckton Master Plan events. We fought London City Airport expansion, where the Labour Mayor Khan is actively backing the use of private jets for the 1% in a climate crisis. We opposed a budget nearly £20 million in cuts, whilst the council spent £160,000 on the coronation parties, the second highest in the UK. Councillor Higgins blocked a budget scrutiny recommendation that would have doubled the time people should live here before they get housing support. Stratford Olympic Park residents appreciate our regular litter picks, support on community assemblies, fighting for a new zebra crossing, and hosting a community safety meeting attended by over 150 residents. We are proud of challenging East London Energy, achieving a year-long bill freeze, and demanding better customer service. We will also continue to fight unjust park charges. Most of all, we've been visible. We listen. Greens work hard all year round. Residents deserve nothing less. We're proud of the relentless effort we put into opposing the MSG sphere. It is an assault on democracy. After 6 months of Green demands, Mayor Fiaz finally acted to push Labour colleague Sadiq Khan to take action on the sphere. However, this year we've witnessed filibustering, agenda manipulation, cynical copying of motions. The promised constitutional review must be prioritised now. We're ready to work constructive with the Labour group for Newham's benefit. I want to be able to find common ground to improve the borough and residents' lives. We are open to working collaboratively and constructively, and I hope to do so in the next municipal year. Thank you, and we wish you all a lovely evening.
Thank you, Councillor Penny. I'm now moving to item agenda 12, review of the allocation of seats on committees and other related matters. Please refer to the order papers, supplementary agenda published online and distributed to members of council, which details the nominations for the council's various committees and boards. I call upon Councillor Islam to move to report to have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Please allow me to extend my sincerest congratulations on your appointment as the Chair of the Council. Your distinguished position is a testament to your outstanding capabilities and unwavering dedication. I wish you every success as you lead and preside over the upcoming Council meeting, and I eagerly anticipate benefiting from your invaluable guidance and wisdom. Madam Chair, today I would like to address item 12 on the agenda, which pertains to the review of the allocation of seats on the committees, appointments, and other related matters. Madam Chair, enclosed within the comprehensive report before you is a thorough examination of allocations of 66 committee positions. Our primary objective has been to ensure fairness, equitable representation for all 66 diligent councillors who faithfully serve the people of Newham. We have made every effort to provide opportunities for a majority of councillors to have a seat on a committee, striving to strike a balance in the process. In addition, as gesture of goodwill, we have extended an extra committee seat to the minority group for the current year, along with a 4th seat on the licensing subcommittee. Given the extensive work on the thoughtful consideration encompassed within this report, I wholeheartedly urge the Council to unanimously endorse this proposal. Madam Chair, I express my gratitude for granting me the opportunity to present this matter before the Council. Likewise, at Hackney Council ACM last week, Section 15, Section 15 was also applied to give the Greens 3.5% of the committee seats, in line with the fact that they make up 3.5% of the councillors. We have offered the minority group 3 committee seats when they are entitled to 2. In addition, we have offered the minority group an additional seat on the licensing subcommittee, which is not subject to political balancing. Our scrutiny chairs are also willing and considering to offer them a seat amongst other seats on, perhaps amongst other seats. And I'll leave it within the discretion of the chairs to confirm their allocations at a later stage. We hope they accept those offers. Madam Chair, the Labour group has tried to be fair with the minority group, but we will not be asking any more councillors to take seats on committees, any more councillors to not take seats on any committees just to fill the minority group's sense of entitlement. I hope to move to a vote. I hope to move. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, John and Councillor Miraz Patel. The amendments to the report as set out in the order paper published today. Councillor Higgins, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Just before I take my time, I'll just say that in line with officer advice, new recommendation X isn't being moved as part of this amendment. That just didn't make its way into the order paper in time. So just so councillors know, recommendation X, which starts to make a resolution under section 17, has been advised as unnecessary as part of this amendment. Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on your election. 1 year ago, I delivered my first speech in this room. I was optimistic about the ability of two parties who agree so much to work together to tackle the challenges facing those we represent, to deliver on Mayor Fiaz's promises of more diversity and pluralism in our politics. That's why I was so disappointed to find that Labour, led by Mayor Fiaz, had taken the unprecedented decision to shut opposition councillors out of the vast majority of committees, rejecting every suggestion that Greens had. I called for them in that speech to spend this last year developing the courage and confidence to submit themselves to the scrutiny that tens of thousands of Newham residents voted for. That's why I'm so incredibly disappointed to be back here again today with nothing changed. In Newham, opposition councillors have been excluded from committees, in our view, violating the law on opposition representation. Even the monitoring officer seems to think that this might be untenable and intends to look at this in the constitutional review. Our amendment acknowledges the urgency of the failure to address these concerns in the past year. We propose seeking external legal advice and requesting a report by October. The review should also include scrutiny commissions, which currently lack any political balance. Labour shouldn't reject this recommendation unless they aim to delay this constitutional review yet further. Mayor Fiaz, you rightly criticised the previous administration from hiding for scrutiny. However, even under Robin Wales, when the Christian People's Alliance served as the opposition group on Newham Council, they were granted representation on all committees and scrutiny commissions. Many of you were here back then. You voted for that. Why are you treating Greens differently to the Christian People's Alliance? You would expect Labour councillors to have more in common with Greens than with actual bigots. Our amendment allocates a seat on crucial committees like audit to opposition councillors. Mayor, in your previous role as a councillor, you've experienced the significance and influence of these roles in holding the administration accountable. This is a serious matter, not a political game. By excluding us from committees, it's not just two inconvenient Greens being silenced. You're not even just shutting out the residents of Stratford Olympic Park, who, by the way, won't be thanking you for this. You're shutting out the many Newham residents who didn't vote for this Labour administration and those who desire accountability. The Mayor has previously said success is built on people working together and that she wanted to open up the way the council works in order to harness the full talents of the council body. If the Roxana Fiaz that had said those words could witness the decisions being made today to exclude opposition and scrutiny, I'm not sure she'd recognise herself. There is an alternative. Support this amendment, which would enable us to promptly seek legal clarity on the council's duty and ensure opposition representation on committees where our contributions will be most valuable. Mayor Fiaz, we can still live up to the promises you made. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Keeling, I understand you are seconding. You have 3 minutes. Thank you. We now move to the debate on this amendment. Does any members wish to speak? Councillor Safiq Kamali. Councillor Sabia Kamali, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. Oh, don't you want to come? Okay.
Is that noted? So, Councillor Simon Rush, are you debating on the amendment?
Sort of, I think. Evening. I'm looking to I'm looking to move their vote, the Greens, to second their amendment. Move to the vote for their amendment.
All right, that's
Thank
fine.
you.
Is that agreed?
So we've just, Chair, we've just received a request to move to the vote.
Vote.
Can you put
So,
that
so
on
we
the
are
amendment,
not debating on the amendment. We are going straight to the vote. Is that agreed? The those are in favor. Can you raise your hand, please?
on the
No,
just
on
on
the
the
going
amendment?
to the.
Just on the amendment.
Sorry, can I clear this here? On the amendment, we are not debating. We are going straight to the vote. So people who are in favor, can you raise your hands? Favor of the amendment? Not, yeah. We are going straight to the vote instead of debate. So if you are in favor, can you raise your hands? Yes, Councillor Higgins. Oh, you are voting against, okay. All right, sorry. So people who are in favor of this, can you raise your hand again? Okay, we've got 2. People who are against in this, can you raise your hand, please? Thank you. Is there any abstentions? Thank you. So we go straight to the motion.
Point of clarification, Chair. Could you just clarify what was agreed just now? Through the monitoring, if you can see guidance from the monitoring officer.
I'll ask monitoring officer to update.
I think members are aware that we've just voted on the amendment, okay? So the amendment has been lost, so now we're going to have a vote, sorry, a debate on the substantive motion.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Chair, monitoring officer.
So can members indicate who would like to speak in the substantive motion?
Councillor Sabia Kamali. Councillor Neil Olson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just wanted clarification. What makes 2 councillors more important than the remaining 64 councillors? Why should one ward get more priority over 23 wards in Newham? Why do councillors in Stratford Olympic Park ward feel that they are more entitled to attend more committees than councillors in Bowling, Wall End or Plaship ward? Am I wrong in thinking Newham Council has a policy of being fair and it should treat all his councillors equally? If that's the case, why do some councillors think they are more equal than others? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sabia Kamali. Can I, Councillor Islam, you have right to reply. Should you wish to say anything? No, there's others too. Sorry. Oh. Councillor Neil Wilson, Councillor Steve Resher, and Councillor Higgins.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I'm slightly bewildered by this debate, quite frankly. We had a speech earlier where we were saying that we were working together and we'd reached quite a good degree of cooperation. Speaking as somebody who was the chair of licensing and the current chair sends her apologies to this meeting, I was quite surprised in some of the words around licensing. Licensing is a very important administrative hearing. It is something that we used to call quasi-judicial, but there's lawyers who will tell you that it's better to refer to it as an administrative hearing. And whether you're in my ward of Plaistow South or whether you're in another ward, you all as elected members have a right to go through that process. I think it's very important that the minority group are represented on both the Licensing 2003 Act, which holds those hearings, They hold those hearings in response to objections either from our residents to an application for late-night refreshment licenses or for the sale of alcohol. And it's rather surprising, I find, that we have lessons in history, and I might share some of the views about certain groups in the past which were a rather ragbag amalgam of bigotry and racism, in my opinion. I'm not even going to mention their name. They've already been mentioned once in this chamber. But to move forward, the licensing committee does have a role, and it is important, I think, that the minority group does take up those positions on that very important process where objections are raised by the Metropolitan Police. There are lawyers present. They go right up to people who are barristers and chambers. I see nods from my colleagues who have seen these positions being filled by some really competent people who have training. I didn't know a thing about it, and I then did it for 4 or 5 years. You receive training, and like everything else, it's important that whatever political group we represent our residents at those very important meetings. The licensing main committee does deal, and I think I moved it here last year, but certainly I have done an AGM before, issues around gambling. A very important issue for our residents, not to be taken lightly. And that has been really well served, and I notice that's another one that has been allocated. Now, I had a discussion about maths the other day. We won't keep talking about percentages, but my understanding of the allocation by committees is that the group that I am a member of actually has given a fair allocation, and I think it is slightly disingenuous to say in one speech that we have, sorry, have I got time up, or is this a speaking order, Chair?
Yes, I was.
Sorry, am I going to be interrupted? Scott, I willingly give way.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Thank you, Chair. Madam Chair, I wish to move clause 17.10.3 of the Constitution to adjourn the debate and allow for our right of reply to be heard before we move to a vote. I do apologise. I think I was wrong with that. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Simon Rush. Councillor Steve Brushers, then Councillor Higgins.
Sorry, I don't think my time was up, but if it was, Chair, I willingly defer to your ruling because you are the person in charge of this meeting. So am I allowed to just make some concluding
You may
remarks?
continue.
I don't want to abuse your position as Chair, particularly on your first meeting.
You
I
may
know
continue.
That how many seconds do I have?
You have 1 minute.
1 minute. In that last remaining minute, then, I would just like to emphasise that whether it's licensing, whether it's a very important role of scrutiny, and I speak as a current member of the executive, which we want to work in partnership across all the groups in this room and our residents to ensure the best possible development of our strategies. It is important that we have the biggest engagement from the opposition group. And I think this is a rather sterile debate that has actually hidden the very real importance of committees, especially, as I say, I speak as somebody who chaired licensing. Those roles are just an example. Let's please not end up with this discussion, which is separate but related to, obviously, the constitutional review. I, as a member of the Cabinet, are proud that we have been open and transparent about the need to reform our constitution. We have been open and transparent with our training for licensing and other areas. I may be one of the longest serving people in the room, but I humbly and respectfully suggest that everybody can learn from participating in the widest possible functions of this council. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Nielsen. Can I ask Councillor Higgins?
Thank you, Chair. I wasn't going to rise again, and I don't have any planned speech, but I actually want to address the point raised by Councillor Kamali just now, because it's frustrating that that's the understanding that has come out of our conversations about this. I don't think I'm entitled to anything more than any other councillor. It's what the law says. So the law says the primary principle for the allocation of committee seats is that no committee can be allocated to the same political group. The monitoring officer wouldn't be considering taking that into a constitutional review if he didn't feel that that had merit as an argument. I'm not saying, I just want clarity on what the law says. When you look at other councils, when you look at Lambeth, when you look at Greenwich, when you look at Nottingham, when you look at many other councils, they all interpret the law the way that Newham used to interpret the law, which is that there must be an opposition councillor on every committee. If that isn't the law, we're very happy to take the allocation that has been given to us. But we feel strongly that this hasn't been given enough scrutiny, and we're frustrated that in the past year, the constitutional review hasn't been able to address this issue. I get where the councillor is coming from, but I just think she's simply mistaken about what our frustrations are in our amendment. I also, just responding to Councillor Wilson about licensing, Greens are committed to taking part in any committee that we're appointed to. The problem with licensing is that there was an administrative error where the wrong councillors were invited to training, and our current representative on that committee has not yet been able to go through the legally required training. Once that happens, we will be taking part in that committee, but it's not fair to be using that as a political tool against us now when we're asking for fair representation because the councillor is unable to take part. And so I think it's just important to correct that mistake as well. Unfortunately, the amendment on the timing of the constitutional review didn't go through, but we will...
Your time is up.
Thank you. We will take the constitutional review seriously and try to get
Thank you, Councillor
clarity on
Higgins.
this
Thank
point.
you, Councillor Higgins.
Thank you.
Can I invite Councillor Stribrusher?
Thank you, Chair. What is the definition of hypocrisy? Last year, Councillor Higgins proposed a motion to full council advocating for the use of proportional representation in local government. He is on public record stating that proportional representation makes for better governance. Time and time again, he has bleated on about it. Yet when it comes to his own self-serving interest, he's now an advocate for disproportionate allocation on committee positions. What has changed, you may ask? Councillor Higgins publicly proclaimed that his #1 manifesto priority would be proportional representation, which quite frankly is odd for a member of a party that wants to tackle the climate crisis, but perhaps explains his relative silence on city airport expansion. But here he is tonight wanting disproportionately more seats than allocated to his 2-seat party, which would deprive duly elected members from other parties having fair representation on those committees. Hardly fair and hardly proportional. Councillor Higgins spoke on a panel with Make Vote Matters campaign group about the virtues of proportional representation, yet he's more than happy to betray his principles and cry foul when the rules are actually applied here in Newham in accordance with the law. Hypocrisy is defined as a practice of claiming to have moral standards or views to which one's own behaviour does not meet. We have heard tonight a prime example of hypocrisy in action from the minority party.
Thank you, Councillor Stribrusher. Does any members wish to speak? Mayor Pierce. Yes.
I just wanted to provide colleagues here with some reflections on this matter. I think there is weight in what Councillor Kamali has stated in the context of 63 Labour councillor colleagues, all of whom were elected as part of a democratic process. They also have entitlements and rights in the context of there only being 66 committee seats. And I think there's a fundamental point of profound principle here relating to the democratic outcomes and the fact that Newham voters decided to elect 63 Labour councillors who have duties and obligations to be serving their residents well, either on the front line as community advocates, activists, helping to transform this borough, or as elected representatives helping to run this council. And they equally deserve a place round the table to make decisions. And I noted some of the commentary in the debate. I noted some of the words that have been written with regards to proposed amendments, which have now been voted down. Let me tell you this, the audit committee is chaired by an independent individual. And there are additional independent members, not elected, in order to advance our good governance agenda that we started in 2018. And let me tell you, the people of Stratford Olympic Park have a Labour mayor that they elected to represent them in that ward. And I do that month in, month out, including advocating against the district heating system that is crushing their household finances. So please, don't throw at me a democratic deficit, lie, as a consequence of 66 seats not being given or more not being considered to a minority group of 2 individuals. We have followed the law. We are following what we are being advised by officers, the previous monitoring officer and this one. And yes, it will be picked up in the constitutional review. And similarly, no doubt, Majority Labour Group will similarly be seeking legal advice. But it is really remiss and improper to be inferring that there is a democratic undermining taking place here.
Thank you, Mayor Fiers. Can I ask Councillor Simon Rush if you wish to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I do. Thank you. I'm sorry about earlier, Madam Chair, but I appear to have peaked too early. Part of that is due to the anger of what I've been hearing from the Green opposition tonight. But I will wish to move what I originally stated, clause 1710.3 of the Constitution to adjourn the debate and allow for our right of reply to be heard before we actually move to a vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that agreed? Now, can I ask Councillor Islam, you have the right to reply. Should you wish to say anything further, you have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Madam Chair, I would like to address the spurious allegations raised in this chamber tonight regarding the Council's adherence to Section 15 of the Local Government and Housing Act of 1989. Let me clarify that the Labour Group engaged in discussion with the Green Group in good faith whilst considering these allocations. Madam Chair, we currently have 66 committee seats, which is equal to the number in this chamber, representing residents from various areas across the borough. The minority group has argued that Clause 5A in Section 15 grants them grounds for seats on every committee, yet they conveniently disregard Clause 5C, which explicitly states that the number of seats on the ordinary committees of a relevant authority allocated to each political group should bear the same proportion to the total seats on the ordinary committees as the number of members of that group bears to the membership of the authority. Furthermore, Clause 5D states that the number of seats on the body allocated to each political group should bear the same proportion to the total seats on that body as the number of members of that group bears to the membership of the authority. Madam Chair, I have already in my moving speech had used examples of elsewhere, but I shall examples of other boroughs elsewhere, but I shall emphasize again with additional examples. Just this month in Islington Council, where the Greens hold 6% of the seats, they were offered 6% of the committee seats in accordance with Section 15.5 of the Local Government and Housing Act 1989. Similarly, at the recent Hackney Council, as mentioned earlier, annual council meeting, Section 15 was applied to allocate the Green Group 3.5% of the committee seats, reflecting representation of 3.5% of the councillors, Green Party councillors. In our efforts to be fair, we have offered the minority group 3 committee seats when they are entitled to 2. Additionally, we have extended an additional seat on the licensing subcommittee, which is not subject to political balancing. And this also, the three seats involves ONS, a seat on the ONS committee. Our scrutiny chairs are also, as mentioned earlier, are also deliberating their willingness to offer the minority group a seat among others on the Black Boys and Council Commission. We sincerely hope they accept these offers. Madam Chair, the Labour group has endeavoured to treat the minority group...
You're nearly over your 3 minutes.
Please, Chair, can I just finish this point? It's a crucial point. Madam Chair, the Labour group has endeavoured to treat the minority group fairly, but we cannot request any more councillors to relinquish committee seats merely to satisfy the minority group's sense of entitlement. In any case, Madam Chair, any concerns regarding the political balance will also be explored during the upcoming constitutional review or in any future reviews. I now request to proceed to a vote. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. We'll be now moving to the vote. Councillor Higgins, we did have enough time to debate. We're moving to the vote now, I'm afraid. We'll be now moving to the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstention? Thank you. That is carried out. I am now moving to item agenda 13, the annual overview and scrutiny report for the 2023, pages 33 to 72 on your agenda. I call upon Councillor Anthony McMullen as chair of the overview and Scrutiny Committee to present the committee annual report. Councillor Anthony McCallum to move recommendation for noting up to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and congratulations to your election to the chairship of this council. And Scrutiny look forward to working with you at all full council meetings. Madam Chair, with your permission, and for the first time, I've decided to present Scrutiny annual report with our team, as we are here this evening. So without further ado, I would ask Councillor Masters to lead, and I would conclude. Councillor Masters.
Madam Chair, over the past 12 months, it's been an honour for me to serve the people of Newham as Chair of Health and Adult Social Care Scrutiny. 2022 to 23 has been a year of unprecedented flux. Our new North East London integrated care system came into being on July 1st, giving health scrutiny a vital monitoring role around the development of our borough role within it and funding formula around it. Day-to-day local challenges were ever shifting, so I created a new standing item for the consideration of any emerging or continuing local issues. This space allowed us to consider everything from our response to the discovery of polio in local wastewater to pressures on hospital beds and a spike in requests for ADHD diagnoses. Opening out health scrutiny to new voices was deeply important to me. Items on the disgraceful lack of local NHS dentistry and its consequences, as well as issues within primary care, made their way onto our agenda in response to requests from our residents, harvested from social media. We also ensured that for more substantive items, a wide array of voluntary sector organisations were invited. Our item on inequalities within mental health saw contributions from Hackney's Support When It Matters, Mind, Local Advocacy Group, ASK, and the Caribbean and African Health Network. And it was this focus on inequalities in health that informed the bulk of our work. Our committee's timely and well-received report on inequalities in maternity within Newham complemented reports from the London Assembly at a regional and the Women Inequalities Commission nationally. Rather than limiting its focus to the maternity wards of our hospital, it looked at issues through a Marmot lens, taking in challenges around housing, culture, and the hostile environment, aside from staffing, weakness of data, and a lack of what we felt were clear local targets. The Commission also started to look at inequalities around disability and mental health, with a further report to bring together overriding themes to be delivered in the new scrutiny year. The eradication of inequity, more generally, has been picked out as a golden thread to run through the transformation ambitions of our integrated care system. To this end, I'm delighted that our Scrutiny Committee's remit has now been expanded to include a monitoring of the efficacy of our attempts as a council to improve equity in our borough, in addition to scrutinising health implications of our climate emergency. I would like to thank all the stakeholders who supported our work in 2022 to 23. I would also like to thank colleagues for ensuring I'll be remaining at the helm for 2023 to 24. I greatly look forward to a further year of collaborative but effective scrutinising. And I'd like to introduce Councillor Booker to talk about children's.
Thank you. I'm very pleased for the opportunity to share the work of the Education, Children and Young People Scrutiny Commission over the past year. Thank you especially to those who have served on the Commission in that time, to the executive members and officers who engaged with scrutiny in an open, transparent and collegiate manner, producing reports and not shying away from challenge, to partner organisations in health and the police, to members of the voluntary community and faith sector and the education sector, who are a great source of stakeholder information and guidance, ensuring our work plan was rooted in what really matters to the people of Newham. And finally, a special thank you to the 3 young people, Darcy, Labour and Nida, who came in January to share their experience of mental health struggles and services. It took immense courage. We were not owed their story, but they shared it with us so that we can better understand the impact our decisions have. Key areas of focus this year included SEND provision and how we tracked against our written statement of action to ensure improvement, changes to the relevant corporate directorate, including Brighter Futures, mental health support for children and young people, especially in the context of post-COVID and school absences, overview of safeguarding and corporate complaints and attainment data, and finally, the use of on-site immigration officers within children's services, our legal duties and concerns raised by voluntary sector partners. Highlights included the introduction of an anti-racism policy within the complaints procedure, providing space for the young people's voice within the Commission, the opportunity to directly advocate for parity in funding across boroughs for children and adolescent mental health from the North East London NHS Foundation, and the opportunity to speak to frontline social workers and hear how a practice and culture change indicated in the uplift of children's services from inadequate to good in the July Ofsted inspection is impacting them and their work with some of our most vulnerable young people. The Commission will continue to provide a high level of scrutiny in the 23-24 municipal year and will continue to monitor the progress made in SEND, educational outcomes and mental health support. I am pleased to welcome lifelong learning as a new area for this Commission to cover and look forward to working with all relevant executives and officers in the upcoming year to ensure we provide the best service for our residents. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I wish to extend standing orders by 30 minutes, if that's agreed by this meeting.
Is that agreed by all councillors?
Madam Chair, over the past year, Newham Overview and Scrutiny Committee has carried out robust and significant thematic reviews through its Scrutiny Commission, of the Council priorities as identified in the Building a Fair and Newham Corporate Plan. Added to these, it also upheld a call-in of the James Riley Point progress to address the increase in costs. It carried out in-year monitoring of the 2022-23 budget and scrutiny of the 23-24 budget proposals. These are set out in the agenda. Sadly, circumstances required that the latter process be suspended, resulting in a truncated version of the standard report. As a consequence, we are unable to give full assurance that the budget, efficiency savings, and service growth, as identified in the draft budget and delivery plans, were realistic and deliverable in meeting the priorities identified in the corporate plan. Despite this, however, I should posit that the final budget report is rigorously constructive in its narrative and recommendation. The Task and Finish Commission tasked with looking into the relationship between Black Boys and the borough has had its work temporarily altered. However, given its powerful findings to date and this important work, I do intend to reconvene this commission within weeks. In the forward to the scrutiny report, I made mention of the fact that effective scrutiny is symbolic of a transparent and confident administration, one that is open to challenge and able to work collaboratively with members in the interests of Newham residents. I would go further to suggest that the existence of robust and well-resourced scrutiny functions are a litmus test to the health of local democracy, while its withering or absent is indicative of democracy in distress. Finalization and implementation of a solid scrutiny executive protocol ought to give parity, space, and opportunity for both governance arms to flourish. However, the true test to these words will be in the systematic translation into value-driven behavior underpinned by the ethos of collegiate yet appropriately critical accountability. Madam Chair, I'm proposing to repurpose scrutiny. No function can stand still in the fast-moving world that we live in. Scrutiny must adapt and be able to flex and respond effectively, innovatively, and timely in the interests of our residents. Given the overarching and strategic nature of the Building a Fair and Newham plan, we must have a systematic program of scrutiny in place to properly cover the executive roles in delivering against the ambition of the plan. The laser lens of scrutiny must be focused on each executive portfolio, thus holding each cabinet member and commissioner to account in every aspect
Councillor
of their work
your time is
in
up.
delivering the priorities as identified.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder, please? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Can we agree to note the report? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. I'm now moving to item agenda 14, Chair of Standards Advisory Committee Annual Update. I call upon Reza Chowdhury, Independent Chair of the Standards Advisory Committee, to represent a verbal update on the work undertaken by the committee in the previous municipal year. Mr. Chowdhury, you have up to 5 minutes to give us your verbal update on the work of the committee has done.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. As chair of the Standards Advisory Committee, I am grateful to be here to give you an update. I will address you to cover the following: a brief introduction to the committee and the committee membership, committee meetings, topics discussed, future work of the committee, and other topics for consideration. So by way of introduction, the committee performs a number of functions to maintain high standards of conduct in public life, consistent with the Nolan principles, that is to say, selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, and leadership. These functions include the following: promoting the members' code of conduct and other protocols, considering complaints of a breach of the code, and to make recommendations on the Council's ethical governance the arrangements with the provision of training and support for members. So on to the committee membership. The committee consists of 4 councillors and 5 independent members, including myself as the chair. There is a vacancy for independent member following the resignation of one in September 2021. The process to recruit that member was on hold, pending the review of the Code of Conduct for members and the Council's broader standards arrangements, including the Constitution and membership of the Standards Advisory Committee. However, we will now be looking to fill this vacancy as soon as possible. Under the provision of the Localism Act 2011, the Council must appoint at least one independent person to assist the Council in promoting and maintaining high standards of conduct amongst its members. We will be shortly advertising to recruit this role to the current independent person's term of office when it's due to expire. Moving on to committee meetings. During the 22-23 municipal year, the committee held meetings in July and October 2022 and February and April 2023. Turning to the topics discussed, the committee considered the following in the past year: the proposed work program for the committee, the ethical framework update. These reports included appendices on declarations of interest declared by the mayor and the members at meetings, gifts and hospitality declared by the mayor and the members, and an update on the code of conduct of the complaints received, mayor and member induction and training program. The committee reviewed the member induction and training sessions provided during the 5th of May local elections, and received updates on attendance at training sessions and further training to be undertaken. Update on the code of conduct for members. The Committee on Standards in Public Life published a report following a review of local government ethical standards, which included a number of best practice recommendations. The format and the content of Newham's Code of Conduct for members was reviewed, with particular consideration given to the provisions on conduct in relation to bullying and harassment,
You've got one more
declarations of interest and categories of interest, the complaints procedure, and the publication of information on member complaints. The future work of the committee are as follows. We will have an update on the recruitment of the independent member and the independent person, the member training program with updates of the provision for training for members, and the timetable for review of protocols as well, together with the ethical framework report. Other topics for consideration: the committee will also be looking at the following matters: complaints process and transparency. And each meeting, we will also receive an update from the monitoring officer on the code of conduct, the complaints. These and the other issues will be kept in mind by the committee as it continues its review of the Council's code of conduct. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Raja Chaudhry. There is currently no provision for questions by members for this item. And on behalf of the Council, I thank you and the committee for your hard work. Thank you. I'm now moving to item agenda 15, annual report of the audit committee, page 73 to 84 on your agenda. I call upon Councillor Elizabeth Broker, Audit Committee member, to present the annual update on the work of the Audit Committee has done. Councillor Broker, please take us through the committee annual report. You have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, members and guests. Chair, I have been asked by the Chair of Audit Committee, Fiona Marsh, to report back to Council on her behalf, as she is unable to attend this evening, and the Vice Chair of the committee has also sent apologies. I can confirm that this report summarises the work undertaken by the Audit Committee during the municipal year 2022 to 23. At the last annual meeting of Council, our membership was reconstituted from 8 elected members to 5 elected members, retaining the 3 independent members, one of whom is the Chair of the committee. All our meetings were quorate, and we covered a number of governance items, including providing oversight to the sign-off of the 21-22 accounts, where Newham Council was one of the first of the London boroughs and in the top 10% nationally, to get their accounts prepared for 21-22, and challenging senior officers over the effectiveness of how the council reimbursed the £150 council tax rebate to residents. The committee also received regular reports from Children's Services, giving progress on the Ofsted report, Ofsted inspections that carried out a new inspection in July 2022 and awarded Children's Services an overall good rating, with the impact of leadership on practice with children and families declared outstanding. I apologise for the repetition in my speeches. The rating was a substantial improvement on the Ofsted inspection from 2019, which had deemed Children's Services to be inadequate. The committee also considered regular counter-fraud reports. This council has a zero-tolerance approach to fraud, following a fantastic year that had already seen the counter-fraud team exceed Newham's best results for 5 years, 3.6 million in 12 months. The committee was delighted to hear that Newham's fraud manager was the winner of the Fraud Leadership Award at the 2023 National Public Sector Counter-Fraud Awards, held on the 22nd of February 2023. This council is committed to having the right staff in place to ensure that residents can rely on us to protect the borough's assets. The committee is not complacent with its achievements and has sought self-improvement via a self-assessment against the Lessons from Public Interest report and Other Interventions, Part 2, published by Grant Thornton in September 2022. This journey of self-improvement will continue into the next municipal year. This report also includes the recommendations for an updated terms of reference for the council to ratify. The wording in the terms of reference has been clarified to help members and the public understand the current remit of the committee, which has not changed. Chair, I move that this report and its recommendations are agreed by council. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Please note that the recommendation on page 74 do not the contents of the report, and to approve the revised terms of reference outlined on the page 81. Does any member wish to speak? If so, please do. You have 30 minutes. Oh, sorry, 3 minutes. If not, we move directly to the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? Thank you. That is carried out. Finally, now I'm moving to item agenda 16, calendar of meetings 2023 to 2024. Please note a supplementary paper has been published online and distributed to members of council, which details the calendar of meetings 2023-2024. Details can be found on the pages 34 to 54 on the supplementary agenda. I move the recommendation in the report. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. We will now move to the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Thank you. That's carried out. Thank you everyone for attending and watching. I hope that you enjoy and rest of the evening. Can members of their guests remain seated to allow the public to leave the building? Thank you. I now declare that meeting has closed. Members, please note that there is a photo opportunities downstairs. Can members please make their way to the downstairs? Please also be reminded that there will be a performance, entertainment,